The Rock and Ramble, where we talk about all the 80s shit, 90s shit. You know what it is, Frank. All about the 2000s and everything. Man, here we are again, enjoying the night. Everybody out there and hoping everybody's having a great time. We're going to talk a bit about some great stuff tonight, all about what it was really like back in the 80s. We talk about this.
We got our stories.
It's part of our main logo.
Well, it is.
What it is.
It is.
What is the 80s really like? And we've touched on a lot of stuff. We've talked about a lot of different things. But we're going to do a deep dive into what it really was like back then, some of the clubs that we loved to play at, some of the clubs we loved to...
Well, you and I, we went through that.
Yeah. Right? All the different stuff that we did, the clubs that we worked at. We're going to touch on it all right now tonight.
Let's do it.
Let's start out a little bit about Orange County, because we're down here from Orange County, so we might as well start in the Orange County area.
Yep.
And some of the great clubs down here, and you guys listen out there, this is where you're going to really reminisce and listen to some of the stuff of the old days and bring you back to when you were. I think the biggest hitter of all the clubs that was out there, it has to be the Red Onion.
Red Onion. Well, I mean, Red Onion, that was super popular, right? But then don't forget some of the classics that we played at. You and I played at Jezebel's.
Of course.
And 369, which became Goodies and all that stuff, or vice versa. One of that, I can't remember. They changed names so many times.
The Marquee Club.
Of course, Marquee Club, right?
So the cool thing about a lot of these clubs, and a lot of them, some of them, like the Red Onion, occasionally they would do a show. But mostly it was just a rock KNAC night, a club night. People would get together. They'd hang out and party.
Yeah.
A meat market. You'd meet people back and forth, have fun for the night, whatever it was that you wanted to do. And there was a lot of clubs that turned out like that. We had Geckos.
Right. Hey, and do you remember, because somebody reminded me of this, especially when I worked for KNAC, there used to be like shows at Bananas.
There was.
And I think Bananas was in like Santa Ana or something like that, right?
Bananas was in Santa Ana.
Santa Ana, yeah. So
for
for those of you guys that remember, there was a lot of shows that they'd send me to as a van driver, KNAC, to Bananas to promote whoever was playing, at that time.
They would find a place anywhere.
They would
to put a show on.
Yeah.
So back in the day when we had
because they were theme nights, right? They do like KNAC night, Tuesday night, wherever.
We used to put on live shows ourselves, and not always KNAC sponsored. Could be just shows that were rock bands.
Yeah.
And we did a couple of clubs down in like Orange County. Michael's Supper Club was a big one. Captain Nash's, but they were always packed.
Are you sure it wasn't Captain Cream's?
Captain Nash's. Captain Cream's. That's right. We went there after Captain Nash's.
Yeah, right.
Let's get the story straight, bro. Little Mickey's Big Mouth.
There's going to be a lot of people who remember that one too. All right, so I'm just saying.
But it was really different back then. I mean, really, it was. Today, unfortunately, and even my son said to me, I wish that I lived back in the time when you guys grew up, because it has changed a lot. And not that it's not fun now, not that you can't go out and have a great time.
It's just different.
It's very, very different.
Yeah.
And a lot of things have changed. It's a lot of things come from not just, but social media has changed a lot of shit too. It's really made things different. And a lot of the dating apps and things where some people feel like they don't even have to go out and meet people.
It's sad though, man.
We didn't have any of that stuff. The internet, we didn't have nothing.
No.
We went out and we met people through shaking hands, hugging, talking to people, enjoying the night, changing telephone numbers, and calling them on the phone.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we really did. Texting wasn't even a big thing.
I mean, we didn't have fucking smartphones back in the day, right? We didn't have any of that.
It started with your basic phone, and you called somebody on the phone. You give them 1 or 2 days after you met them, and you give them a call, and you guys will go on a date. That's
freaking different.
That's typical.
Yeah.
So I started in a lot of local clubs, smaller clubs, before I worked at KNAC, and you might have too.
Yeah.
I did start a place called Captain Nash's. It was a cool little venue down in Laguna Hills, live bands, music, and then every night they had something going on, but they had 1 or 2 nights it was a rock night. A lot of places had that because rock and roll was a big thing back then.
Yeah.
And dance was cool too, the 80s and those kind of things. But the rock and roll always had one night at least one of the local clubs. So let's name a couple of the clubs. Orange County, right? So for me, the bigger ones we talked about, Red Onion. That was a big club back then.
Well, you can't forget about ABC too. ABC was huge back then too.
ABC was
because honestly, when I was doing the promotions for the Fullerton Red Onion and then moved over to Huntington Harbor, we always competed with ABC. And then in Long Beach, you had Live Bait and all those other, clubs, Mooses and all that stuff. So those were kind of the bands or the clubs that everybody was competing to venues to get people over to,
And there was only so many nights in a week.
Right.
They never had KNAC night on a Saturday. Actually, they only had one place that had KNAC night on a Saturday. Only one place.
Yeah, most of the time was like during the week.
That was California Dreams.
California Dreams, that's
they
right.
Had a Saturday night. The only one that's ever really done it. And that place was very, very small. Remember, it only held a couple hundred people tops.
Yeah,
It was really, really small.
I think there was remember that bar? It was a college like bar at first, Casey's, and it was in Orange.
Yeah.
But I think they tried to do like a KNC night, but
They
it
did.
didn't really work
It
out
didn't.
there.
They
Right?
had a lot of cool bands that played there. But they were more like a Toad the Wet Sprocket
Right,
type
right,
of music.
right.
They weren't so much the
and
rock band.
and so was Chester Drawers. Remember Chester Drawers?
Drawers
That
was
was, I
great.
think, like in Fountain Valley or Costa Mesa or
It
something
was in
like
Costa
that.
Mesa,
Yeah,
17th Street.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
you could go there and party all night long.
Right,
And then
right.
the next morning they had the best omelet bar in Orange County.
That's
bro.
right, that's
You would basically, if you didn't sleep in the parking lot, you go home and come back and act like you slept in the parking lot. It was a
And
lot
you guys
of fun.
know too. If you remember those
Yeah.
days, you remember that.
We could go down lists of clubs and miss ones that you guys know about because there was some great ones
Yeah.
all over the town. And the ones like the ones we're talking about, the Red Onion, the Peppers, the Marquee,
Yep.
Jezebels, Bananas, and stop me if you
No, I mean
ABC,
all of those. Yeah.
Geckos,
Mhm.
right? There was a ton of clubs that everybody hung out at night to night to night. We would go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Maybe we'd take a Thursday off because we were too tired. Come back Friday, hit it hard. The weekends were really when we kind of rested.
Right.
We didn't do as much on the weekends because
Yeah.
it wasn't so much KNC stuff.
Well, or we were playing, right? Or we were doing
Correct.
like gigs or whatever. So yeah.
Friday and Saturday nights were not really big for KNC stuff. Like I said, California Dreams did do Saturday, but Fridays was kind of almost a rest night unless you were playing a gig.
Well, unless you're playing a gig or flyering too, because we did a lot of flyering, obviously at the Strip and all that stuff, because we had to promote, right? And you guys did too. So that was one of the things that we did. So
The best flyering, we used to always do the concerts. I'm sure
yeah,
you
oh,
probably did
100%,
too.
yeah.
You do like you talked about in the movie, right?
Oh, yeah, Rockstar.
You're talking Rockstar,
Oh, yeah.
where you go to the flyer, the cars. We used to love to stand and wait. We would go there when the concert's getting out, and we would stand in front of the venue. And we would hand flyers out to people as they're coming out of the venue.
Mhm.
Great place, meet people and
Yeah.
meet a chick for the night. Even.
Yeah.
It's just a great opportunity to meet somebody that night and have fun.
It was awesome.
And you're working.
Yeah.
You're doing what you had to do to promote your band or whatever,
yeah,
or your
yeah.
club. Because
Right.
we're doing club promotions too. So I promote the clubs too as well when we're down there.
Yeah.
But some great times, man. Orange County was a lot of fun. God, LA was cool. I really liked LA too. I think LA was more of the playing for me. Like when we performed, it was more Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We did a lot of Orange County shows too, but we would play in Los Angeles quite a bit too. I didn't drive to LA as much as Orange County because we were local.
Yeah, and I think that was the difference too, because I mean, obviously with LA Vans, they live there, right? So that was their stomping ground. Ours was Orange County, but to your point, we would be driving up and doing our shows, and then might hang out a little bit. Like if we, for example, if we were doing shows, we would do sound checks. So we'd be up there, whatever, late morning, do sound checks and all that stuff, and then hang around. But it's not like we were living there. We weren't hanging out and, going to all the other places other than the show that we were doing. We got done with the show, and then all of our after-hours parties are back in Orange County because nobody wanted to do an after-hours party in LA and then have to drive all the way back home.
100% true. That's the reason why we started doing the bus.
Right.
The bus was a big
right.
thing for us, and that's what really made a big difference. Because, you drove to LA, we would do the same thing. We'd get up there, you'd have to do an early sound check, depending on where you're playing on the bill. If you're playing on a really low level, then no, you're not doing sound checks. But
Yeah.
if you're headliner or co-headliner, you're doing a sound check.
Right.
So you are up there 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon, whenever they called you out to be there. And then we hit over like Jerry's Famous Deli or something like that. We'd go hang out and have something to eat. Maybe get a
I have
little
to admit, 7 C's a couple times.
Well,
Sorry.
it happens. 7th fail, it happens out there. There's a couple different areas that we go to, a couple different places.
Yeah.
And we would indulge in a little bit of the strip club.
A little bit.
That's not totally spin off, but let's talk about what about the strip clubs, dude? I mean, back in the day.
Well, Tropicana and all that kind of stuff, but think
now, you know what? Right now, it is not.
It's not
It's
anything
not
like it
worth
used to be.
going to a strip
No.
club.
No.
So that was actually part of our clubs. I mean, I consider those part of our clubs. Captain Cream's, Fritz's,
Yep.
Mr. J's.
Yep.
All these places were local to us, Orange County,
Mm-hmm.
mostly free to get in, cheap drinks. They weren't really, really expensive as they are normally at a strip club.
Yeah.
The girls weren't so wound up, just freaking plummeting for money.
Yeah.
They would hang out, party
Well,
with
now
you.
it's all about taking you to the back,
Well,
VIP.
it really
and,
is. It's
all
changed.
that.
And you got to go into
money
a show. If
grab
you want to have
shit.
fun or decent fun, you're going to go in with $300, $400 at least
Yeah.
to have a decent
Easy.
night.
Easy.
And you know what you're going to get? you're going to get a swollen cock and an empty pocket. That's exactly what you're going to get.
Absolutely.
There's nothing more you're going to get than that.
It's a money grab, absolutely.
There's really nothing, man. We used to meet girls in there, and I'm not saying that we were just going there just to meet the girls, but they were just more normal. It was just more normal thing to go to the strip club, to enjoy yourself a little bit, have some drinks, and have a great night. And we used to do the strip clubs when certain nights weren't happening at the club. There would always be girls there.
Yeah.
There would always be guys there because they're always there. So you always had fun where you could do a club and enjoy yourself. They have pool tables in the back. Always a good time.
Yeah.
Always a good time at the strip club.
Yeah, the vibe's totally different now.
It's changed a lot.
Totally different.
And now they try to put together steakhouses with strip clubs, sushi bars with strip houses, all this different stuff together to try to indulge the richer person to be there. And the guys like us, they just want to go out and have a good time, and it's not the same anymore.
It's a money grab.
Yeah, it's
total
100%.
money grab.
Unfortunately. So back to LA a little bit. So LA was we played pretty much every club, and I believe you did too.
Mm-hmm.
And we could go down the strip itself, but the Whiskey was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Roxy was big.
Yeah.
Troubadour was big.
Mm-hmm.
Gazzari's, the only one of the standing four that's gone. We talked about Bill Gazzari and the club and how they changed the billboards as moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my favorite club to play. I'm not sure what yours was.
Well, so let's talk about that because obviously each one of those clubs offered something different, and which was each of them were cool in their own way, but they were very, very different from the sound to the layout of the club, the whole thing. So which ones were your favorites? Let's talk about that.
Well, for me, 100% is Gazzari's. I just love the layout of it. I love the backstage of it. I love what we got from Bill. He was a great guy, dude. Really cared about the artist.
Yeah.
So we played most of our shows it was at Gazzari's.
Yeah.
We played all the clubs, but most of them was at Gazzari's. Just because we had a really good following of people that went there, and hospitality was amazing.
Yeah.
For us. No, maybe not for everybody, but for us it was. Roxy was cool. Roxy was a very different kind of venue.
It was more like a theater.
It was. It wasn't so much. It wasn't so much clubbish.
But I will tell you this much, and I agree with you. Gazzari's, and we were treated very well there. We talked about it before, so that was one of our favorite clubs to play. But Roxy was probably close second because even though it was kind of a weird theater thing with the red curtain, the whole thing, but the sound was really, really good in the Roxy. I really thought that from a sound perspective, the Roxy had a great sound.
I think all the clubs had good sound for different reasons. One club, I'm going to be honest, the club, and this is not putting anything down because they probably put on the most rock shows right now, and it's still a great venue to go to. The Whiskey was cool, but it was more nostalgic than to me. Yes, we played the Whiskey. We played the Whiskey a Go-Go, and everybody wanted to play there back in the day. That was almost like the height of playing the Sunset. But to me, Gazzari's was better. I actually love the Trube.
So it's funny you say that because for me, I thought the Trube was always a little bit funky because it was that kind of that narrow stage, and it was kind of like elongated but very narrow. And the whole club was kind of a weird shape, right?
It was a little bit of an angle.
It's kind of an angle. And I always thought that was kind of weird, right?
I liked the, when you walk in the club, if you remember this, you walk in the club and pretty much almost when you walk into the right, there's a stairwell.
It's right there. Yeah,
and the
exactly.
stairs go up and go around the top.
Yep.
So your backstage and the whole thing was really up top, and they had different rooms there.
But you remember how narrow, like when you got up on the stage, the stage was like really, really narrow.
It was. Yes, for stage purposes. Yes, but for the atmosphere and the fun of it, I like the Troubadour.
Yeah, and the sound was good in there. Don't get me wrong.
What about
the sound
FM
was
Station?
Good. What's that?
What about FM Station?
Yeah. FM Station was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it was good too. I wouldn't put that up there in my top 3.
So I really liked. Later we played this, but I really liked when it came out later was the Knitting Factory. That place was it was a fun venue to play.
So the one that I will tell you that we enjoyed playing at, and we had probably about a good 2 to 3 great shows with Warrant because we co-headlined with them, was at the Waters Club in San Pedro.
Okay.
So
never played there.
That was before, because we did it before they did the split when it was 18 and 21-year-olds. It was kind of weird because, before that it was 21 and over, but then they opened it up and did the 18 and 21. They split the club. So if you were 18 you had to stay on one side and 21 stay on the other. It was kind of weird. But we always had a great time there. That was a cool place.
Never been to a club that split you 18.
It was
21.
weird. Yeah, it was weird.
Been to a strip club that split you 18 and 21, but never been to a regular club.
Yeah, well, it was weird. It was weird that they did that. It was kind of trippy, but yeah, no, we had we had some good shows there too.
Yeah,
so.
I never played the Waters Club, so I can't really relate to it. And you played the Knitting Factory or no?
We didn't. No.
And that's a similar thing. It was just the cool thing that I liked about the Knitting Factory was there was actually 3 rooms, which was kind of unique. You walked down a cool hallway just to enter the club, and then if you went in and made a hard right, there was a little bar, probably held maybe you could pack 50 to 100 people in it, and they would just have some band playing randomly, and then they had a front stage. The front stage would have a couple hundred people there, no problem, and then you had to walk past that stage down another hallway into the back room.
Maybe honestly, bro, I don't quite remember, but I know we played at a club in LA that was like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was in the Knitting Factory or something else, but it was like that where you played. There were different rooms, and we were playing in a room separate from others, but I can't remember what the name of it was.
We played at the Knitting Factory so many times that we actually played in all the rooms. The very first time we came back, the band had split up, and we regrouped with some new members in Madison, and when we did that, we played the very front room, and it was crazy because everyone was trying to get in and see what's going on, and it was really packed in there. But a great energy show. You got to have 50 people in front of you, 100. If the room's packed, It doesn't make a difference if it's small or big. We could play here in the backyard that we're sitting in right now in the undercarriage, and there was 30 or 40 people here, and we're just rocking out. We're going to feel like it's a 500-person arena because the way that it's happened,
right?
And it's right on top of you. And that's what was really cool about the club. We had some great shows, but we did the buses. We're talking about this, right? You're talking about going to L.A.
Yep.
You're talking about actually putting together the show, doing the sound check, trying to stay maybe not sober, but not getting really fucked up. Then playing the show. And the best part of playing the show was being able to drink and take shots. And you talked about this in the past podcast about taking shots in the back, right? With Michael Anthony and Josh.
Yeah.
You talked about this.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And and I talked about having 5 beers, no fuck ups, and all these things that we did. But then after the thing, you had to go home.
I know. That was the worst part of it.
And that's the worst part. And that's where that Uber thing came in, and us, in some cases driving like we shouldn't have drove.
Mm-hmm.
But towards the later years, when we got a little smarter, we decided to do buses.
Yeah.
And I think we had mentioned this. I'm not sure if I talked about this previously.
You did. And it was actually the best way to go.
Yeah. I mean, we were able to get 50-person a bus. We get 2 buses, bring 100 people with us with all that you could drink and everything.
Yeah.
You get in the bus, you pay $40, $50 for a ticket, all you can drink, and a bus ride. And then you go back home and you set something up locally, whatever, or you guys all go to a club, or half the people take off and go home, whatever you're going to do,
right.
And you don't feel like you're not obligated to anything. Now, still, they didn't have Uber back then.
Right.
So it would have been great to get off the bus and take an Uber and go somewhere.
Yeah.
And that would be fantastic. So if you're a new local band, you're playing Orange County, and you're even if you're going to play in LA, if you're from Orange County, think about the bus. It's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Our idea was fantastic back in the day. I don't know what the
even
bus
better now with like you said, with Uber or Lyft or whatever, because then you don't have to drive period at all, right?
No,
because you still had to drive from wherever the bus dropped you off at.
That's true
to
too.
Get home.
But I was going to say from here to LA on an Uber would be pretty expensive,
right?
And bus, I don't know what the buses cost now as opposed to what they cost back then. I mean, obviously there's going to be a difference, but you got a 50-person bus, and you're going to put 45 people in there or whatever, because you got to have a couple seats to put the beer and all whatever you're going to serve on there. So you use a seat with trash cans and whatever.
Right.
So you're going to get 45 people in a bus, and then you got band members. So you're paying probably 40 people per bus.
Yeah.
So you got 80 paid people going, and then you got band members and wives and all the other shit, girlfriends or friends, whatever, whoever you're giving free tickets to. And it was a pretty ingenious idea. We made a lot of money doing it, but not only that, we had a lot of fun.
Right. Well, and it kept people safe, right? Because I can't tell you how many times, unfortunately, I mean, it is what it is, but we would do the shows. We had, the fans come up and drive up from Orange County, all that stuff. And then, people, of course, are drinking all that kind of stuff. Well, what do you think they're doing? They're all driving home, right? It was, yeah. I mean, a lot of friends got popped, and it sucked, it was just
and the clubs
not
are cool.
cool.
There was 1,000 bands out there.
Yeah.
Everybody trying to make it.
Yeah.
Us being a couple of them, right? We were out there trying to make it and thinking that we're
humping. We're just doing we're doing the same thing.
You always have in your
was.
mind that we're going to be the next big thing. We're going to be the next hit, and that's the goal that you have, and that's what we all want. So we, of course, we're living that dream, and we're doing everything we can to do it. And we both had some magical shows to where we think this is really what's going to break us. And unfortunately, we're like we talked about before, we're here doing the podcast.
Yeah.
and honestly, dude, I love doing the podcast.
Honestly, it's really cool too that we get to reminisce like this, and hopefully, we hit some points that people remember. We've had already friends of ours that, oh man, I can't believe you guys talk about those, whatever shows or venues or whatever, and they resonate with people, right?
Some of the comments that we've had.
Yeah, it's great.
People that have listened that know us or don't maybe leave comments or whatever. We've got texts or calls from them. Dude, the podcast is great.
You're taking me back, man.
I know
it's awesome.
all this stuff way back in the day. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring everybody back. We're not only talking about the past. Of course, this podcast is really about the old clubs and the old days and what we used to play and where we used to hang out. But there's a lot of other things, too, that are going to be on this podcast that are going to be from what the old was to the new.
Yeah.
And everything that comes in between it. Because, this is life changes. And I didn't realize things. I mean, shoot, dude, here's a small example. You go to a movie now with your family, and it's $15 a ticket to go to see a show. Back when I was a kid, it was $2.50.
Well, and so now I just went to, there was a premiere that we did for an organization that I'm a part of, nonprofit. It's awesome. But anyway, you go to the theater and it's a whole experience now. They serve alcohol. You get like appetizers. The chairs lean back. It's a whole thing, right? It's no longer like you just going to see a movie.
But it's
a whole experience.
But it's going to cost you $100.
But it's going to cost you, yeah, for sure.
You're going to pay $75, $80, $100 without a shadow of a doubt, no problem.
Yeah.
My dad used to tell a story, a real quick story. My dad used to tell me he used to get a quarter from his mom. Go to the movies. Back then they did 2 full-length movies. They did a bunch of promos, cartoons, other stuff as well. He would get a popcorn and a soda and bring his mom back 2 cents change. 23 cents.
Oh, the good old days.
But I'm saying things change, right?
Yeah, of
now,
course.
fast forward to what we were, Smoking the Band, did a lot of these movies. We used to go and watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
We paid $2, $2.50. Popcorn cost you 50 cents, $1. It was super cheap. $5, you're in and out of that place for the day.
Yeah.
Right? Now, fast forward now they got alcohol, they got all this other shit. Now, yes, we didn't have that. We snuck our own alcohol in the back. Right, we did.
Yeah.
We snuck our own drugs in the back. We did those things ourselves, and you could still do that today, even if you wanted to. But you could easily spend $75 to $100 for a fucking movie, dude.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you, what freaking really annoys me, dude, is the 15, 20 minutes of all the fucking ads and shit before, dude.
But it's a movie.
I mean, I know, but honestly, I can just watch this stuff at home, and I can pause it if I gotta go to the bathroom, because nowadays, bro, I don't even know if I can make it through a 2.5 hour movie. I'm sorry, bro. I'm just telling you. I'm being on the up and up, dude. It sucks, bro. So for me, in the comfort of my own home, I can stream whatever, and so I don't have to sit through 15, 20 minutes of all this bullshit ad stuff before. I'm just, that's just.
If you want to get up,
I'm
and
bitching right now.
You want to make a drink. You want to get something to eat.
Seriously.
You want to go knock one out in the bedroom real quick. You just got to put it on pause, bro, and you're fucking there, and you're coming back
every blue moon.
But we're talking movies and music and all kinds of different stuff. But it's just things have changed a lot.
Yeah.
And one thing we've been talking about and doing a lot of is we're talking about a lot of things that are now AI.
That's coming, dude. If you're not prepared for it, get prepared. It's coming.
And we talked a little bit ourselves off the air about this. But I think the scarier part of what AI is where are we going?
Yeah.
Not what are we developing, where are we going as a community, as a nation.
As a society and humanity and everything else.
For
absolutely.
Sure. So, one of the biggest things for us and what we talk about so much is music in itself. We talk about live music. We talk about seeing bands. We talk about seeing artists. We talk about live music, not lip syncing. And all these things are being changed with artificial intelligence and all the music. You can basically put all your stuff into an app and it'll create a song in a matter of 30 seconds to a minute.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, and there's a lot of more techie folks out there that know much more about this than humbly myself, right? But now it's even grown to the point where there's passive AI and there's agentic AI. Now, agentic AI can form complex decisions or make complex decisions, right? Where you put in a couple things and it's coming up with solutions from as little things as a couple sentences that you put in. It's crazy right now.
thing.
Yeah,
So
it's
an
nuts.
It's an entire anything. You can put anything in there. If you're going to quit your job, AI can now develop your resignation letter. It can do pretty much anything.
Yeah. No, it's honestly, this is the next kind of how the internet, when it first came on, right? And then you had everything else with smartphones. This is kind of the next evolution of technology. It really is.
It's kind of, if you think about from the past until now, and this is what we're talking about by talking 80s, 90s, 2000s and on, because it's really, it's a wild ride from the very beginning all the way to where we physically are now.
Yeah.
We're talking about things like what we talked about, like going like to a movie, or we're talking, we used to use payphones. We didn't have cell phones back when we were kids.
Oh, you're going way back.
My parents didn't have phones at all.
You're going way back.
I am, because we have to go back to where the root of it is, right?
Yeah.
So now we're talking about, there was payphones. We put a dime in our pocket. Then we had to put a quarter in our pocket. And then it changed to where you had a cell phone. And cell phones, like, you only had a cell phone if you're a drug dealer, a pager, a beeper. Right? And then and they had the flip phones. They had the big old Motorola's you used to see on Miami Vice. Remember the big old ones, the brick phones?
Oh, yeah.
They had those. Those were kind of cool. And then if you wanted to be cool, you'd take your cordless phone and you put it in your car and you pretend that you're driving down the street when some chick's next to you. Hey, what's up, girl? What's up? But that was what it was.
And then you had the Blackberries come out and all that.
They did, and he evolved. And life is an evolution. We understand it's evolving and continuing to grow.
Consistently.
But I think the fear for me is, we've seen a lot. And I don't know that my parents, when they were young, they didn't have nothing. Television did come out. They had a black and white TV. They had to go to the TV and turn the channel. So then we came up with remotes and color TV.
Yeah.
And games like Atari and Intellivision and Nintendo. They came out with those things, and I feel like, these are all things that they watched us evolve into what we did.
Yeah.
But I want to say that the evolution, the evolving that we're in now is scarier and crazier than what our parents watched us do. Would you agree with that?
I do. And you know where I'm with you on this one, because I'm really nervous, and unfortunately it's personally hitting me and my family. Is just the fraudsters, the bad actors that are out there, that they use this technology in bad ways. And we're dealing right now with my parents, and just they're elderly.
Just
and
aren't you dealing with something now?
Dude, it's bad.
Personally.
I mean, it's just personally. It's very. It's tough. It's tough because they're susceptible, very susceptible. When you get to that age, you don't understand technology, you don't understand what's going on, right? And you're an easy target. And how many articles do you read about the elderly getting impacted by fraud situations and stuff like that? And it's getting worse and worse because the technology is getting better and better to the point where you can mimic somebody's voice, their face, their facial recognition, everything, and it's just getting really, really tough. It really is. So from that standpoint, it concerns me.
And that's, I think, where we're kind of going with this, and the scariness of it is not just about, we talk about the music side of it, and let's draw back to what we were talking about earlier about the music. We're talking about things like going and seeing a live band. Okay, so you're going to go see Guns N' Roses, you're going to see Motley Crue, you're going to see Metallica, you're going to see any of the bands you want to see. And we can critique them. We can talk about Vince's voice. We can talk about, and hey, let's be honest, my favorite band's Guns N' Roses, but Axl's having a real hard time lately.
Yeah.
And I can admit that. Just because they're my favorite band doesn't mean that I'm going to stand behind them 100% when their times are tough.
And we've already beaten up poor Vince Neil enough.
We have, and the thing is that they're still out there. Now, I don't mind if you go out there and you sound like shit, if you're singing live. But when you're playing the tracks and you're hoaxing everybody in the audience to pay $300-$400 a ticket, and you're just not doing anything but dancing around like Milli Vanilli, that's a problem.
So let me ask you this, because obviously auto-tune's been out there, and you and I have had certain opinions about that, right? But what's the next step from that? Where does AI come in to where Vince Neil goes on stage and he's literally singing to himself, but younger Vince Neil? Okay, so that's where I'm getting are we getting to that point,
Yeah, and there's quite a few bands that have been out there that the vocals have diminished over the years, and they're still doing it. They don't sound horrible, but they're still doing it, and then they come back a year later on tour and they sound like they were when they were 20.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. And I get it.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%.
I mean, wouldn't this be freaking crazy? Because there's already the Michael Jackson hologram, right?
Sure.
So wouldn't
That's
it be
a big
nuts?
thing, too.
It's a huge thing, right? Wouldn't this be crazy if you had Vince Neil today versus Vince Neil the hologram? And you've got this guy, Vince Neil, who's singing at Vince Neil in his 20s versus Vince Neil in his 60s. Wouldn't that be freaking crazy?
So a lot of people don't know about the hologram thing that's out right now, and this is starting to come around right now. And they've started to do it with Queen. They did it with Michael Jackson.
Right.
This is where you could actually go and see a concert of a hologram of that person and singing everything just as if you were seeing them live.
At their best. At their best.
Now, of course, it's not going to be them running around the stage exactly, but with the hologram, it looks pretty good.
I mean, shit, Michael Jackson's doing the moonwalk on the hologram thing. I mean, it looks totally legit.
That's where
you know?
AI is taking us. It's just so crazy where we're going. And the question is, how scary is it?
Yeah.
Because, and once again, we've reeled back a couple times, right? Back to what we talked about the music. And let me finish this part out real quick.
Okay.
But the music is really about the live music of what we see. You and I go to concerts. We want to go to concerts. One of the podcasts that we've talked about is the best club bands. We talked about the best arena bands.
Yeah.
We haven't honed in 100% on the best tribute bands, and that's what I want to do with you, and we're going to do.
We'll do.
But the tribute bands that are out there. And the difference between seeing a live band and seeing a tribute band, and what's the difference between the cost and is it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
But this is different because now I can punch in, I can write a song. I could not even be a good singer. I could write a song, and I could put my voice in there, and AI is going to change the voice and make me sound like a rock star.
Yeah.
And they're going to come with all the music, the drums, keyboards, bass,
We
guitar,
already messed around with it, you and I.
We did.
You know?
Whatever it's going to be.
It's fucking nuts, dude.
And it sounds great.
Yeah.
So the thing is that there's some of the most, if you Google search and YouTube stuff now, there are some physical AI bands that are out there now. They're called AI bands that are super popular, dude, that have hits millions of views for bands that aren't even real.
That's so nuts to me, dude.
Okay, so now where are you going to go see that band live?
Right.
Are you going to hire somebody like Milli Vanilli to stand around and dance around the stage?
Or
like
do
the Backstreet Boys?
Or do like the emo things with the DJs where they have like whatever the DJs playing that or whatever's happening.
So
you know?
when people go to raves, there's not always live bands.
No,
right?
there's not.
There's going to be your DJ or whatever. They're going to play tracks.
Right.
And people are going to bounce and have a great time. Is that where we're headed towards rock music?
I don't know, dude.
Are we headed towards that? We're going to go to a place just where we can hear the music loud, drink, and have fun with our friends. And then what's that going to create as far as dollars go?
Yeah.
Frank, our ticket.
I'm so old school, dude. I want to see freaking a band, music live. You know, I want to see the artist playing. I don't want tracks. I don't want this bullshit.
This is the conversation
I don't want that, bro.
We're talking about. So you go and buy a ticket at a concert, right? Way back when, we used to stay up all night. We would stay up all night to try and get front row tickets or the first 10 rows of orchestra.
Yeah.
We would stand in line around the music, Tower Records or whatever it was, waiting for it to open, and we'd try to be the first one in line before you could do online.
Right. That was the excitement of it.
And then now you're doing online, you're buying tickets. Oh, we got 6th row to go see freaking Metallica. Oh, it's going to be awesome. And that's a big thing. But what happens when it goes to AI? Do you really care where you sit?
True.
Do you really want to sit in the first row? Does it make a difference? You're not seeing anybody live.
No.
You're seeing whatever show they're putting on.
Yeah. I mean, look what's happening. You know, they're doing the shows at the Sphere in Vegas, right? I mean, you know, and I haven't had a chance to go there. Have you? I don't know if you've gone there. I've not. But I've heard, you know, my friends have gone, Kenny Chesney or whatever. And, you know, it's great. The feedback's great, sound, everything. But it doesn't matter where you sit. Because it's all around.
It's all around.
It doesn't matter.
Dude, there's actually
doesn't matter.
woofers in the seats.
Yeah, exactly. So
I mean, it's crazy.
Any seat's a great seat. Doesn't matter.
They talked to Robert Trio from Metallica. I listened to an interview with him, and they were talking about the Sphere, and Metallica's interested in possibly doing it because there hasn't been a rock band out there yet. They're interested in doing it, and they were talking to him about his bass and everything, and how they have the speakers are all right next to you, and in the actual seats they have speakers. It's just going to draw you in. That's a great idea. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them emphasizing the music and the sound for a true band that's playing. I'm okay with that.
I agree.
And I'm okay if I sit all the way at the top and I still love it as much as the bottom. You know, still, to me, my wife and I have come to a point where we got to be in the first 15 to 20 rows, or we don't really want to go.
Yeah.
You can call me bougie. You call whatever you want.
Can I call you bougie?
You can call me bougie. Baby.
I'm going to call you bougie.
But whenever you're sitting up in the top, it's just not the same vibe. It's not the same vibe.
I get it.
You know, so, you know,
but
when you
are bougie.
Yeah, I appreciate that, dude. But we talked about possibly going, and I'm not sure because we're going to do something next weekend. And one thing I didn't bring up to you yet, but we'll talk about it here, and we'll talk about it later, is, Stephen Pearcy's playing with Warren DeMartini.
And
he's actually
that would
playing
be cool.
next
Yeah,
Sunday.
we got to check that out.
But I don't want to pay the $200 to stand in the pit.
Why would we do that? We don't need to do that.
So you could sit towards the back as a smaller venue. And you're going to pay $50-$60 to go see the show. What's the price of admission worth to stand up? Do we want to be up close?
Is that general admission or what?
It's not general admission.
I don't
no,
want to
it's
do
not.
that, dude. No.
So we'll talk about that. But
I can't stand that long, dude. I'm just saying, bro. That's
you can
where
go
I'm
fall
at.
asleep on the toilet for 20 minutes. And I'll wake you up. I promise you. But
I get it.
But
I
it's
get
just
it.
I'm scared of what's coming next.
I know. Yeah.
And a lot of I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I check a lot of things out online. A lot of people are really freaked out about what AA is doing. I'm going to say it's cool in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is.
But what people are using it for, obviously things of stealing from people, fraudulent stuff.
That's what I'm concerned
and
about.
there's all kinds of stuff. And
Yeah.
it's just a little too crazy, too fast, and you're putting danger in people's hands.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem is what is the cap? What's the limits? Who's regulating? Because there's no regulating right now. So, right now it's the wild, wild west. We'll see where it goes.
And I think it's the same thing when you dealt with some of the dating apps, for example, right? I mean, back when we were younger, we didn't have dating apps.
Mm-mm.
We went to the club, we met somebody, changed numbers, maybe we went out and drank, and we had some party and had fun.
Yeah.
That was normal for us. Now they have dating apps. Swipe left, swipe right. You want to get laid tonight? Let's just try and see on my app and see if I can find somebody.
You don't
to come
even know
over.
if that's the person, though.
You don't know if it's the
Because
person.
it's superimposing
And once
like
again,
their
this is back
pictures
to,
and all that.
This is back to the
you don't even know if that's the right person.
non-realization of what we're dealing with, and then you get yourself so worked up.
Yeah.
You're fucking horny as shit. You're waiting for the girl to come over to the house. You've had a couple drinks, and the fucking girl the girl that you saw in the pictures is maybe 2 times the size of the one that was in the picture. And maybe you're compromised now, and you're like, oh fuck it, I'm already here. But the point is, it's just it's taking it to a whole nother level,
Yeah.
and that was that's not exactly what we're talking about with the AI, and we're talking about exactly with the fraudulent stuff. It's just a really freaky world that we're moving into, and as parents and having kids, we worry about that stuff.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you have to be so vigilant as parents right now. I mean, obviously, you and I, our kids are older and all that stuff. But if we had kids and parents that do have kids that are younger, I mean, you have to be so vigilant and making sure that you're on top of what they're doing, like on the computer and what they're on sites they're on, all that kind of stuff. It's so important. You got to be in tune.
And I watch my kids now go through, like, for example, I watch my daughter who has a boyfriend, or I watch my son who has a girlfriend. I watch these things, and I go, they're really not players like we were. I mean, let's just be honest about it. I'm not going to hide behind who we were when we were younger. That was a normal thing to be a player, to meet people and go out and have fun, maybe not be so connected, or maybe be tied down to one person. These were normal things, especially in the business we were in the music business and the entertainment and playing in our bands and managing clubs. It was normal to do that. Now you don't see that. It's just not as common. My son, my daughter, and I, as a father, I appreciate it. I'm glad for it, because I don't know what my dad went through. I'm not sure what my dad said, but the thing is that we were not tied down at one time, and it's just so different now. Things are so different. It's really wild to me.
It is, in so many different ways, right? Because, I mean, let's face it, our kids, they went through some crazy times going through COVID, right? COVID did a lot of
damage.
Weird damage. A lot of weird things mentally, socially, physically, I mean, it was pretty screwed, man. And so, coming out of that, it's a different world. It really feels like it's a different world, right? I mean, from a work environment and the fact that, people adapted to working remote, and just socialization, all that kind of stuff. I think the kids have had to deal with a lot.
We've never as a society bounced back from COVID.
I
not 100%.
I don't think so. Not 100%.
And I'm not going to get really political with it.
Right.
Everybody listening to the podcast is going to have their own political views.
Sure.
As far as Democratic, Republican, I don't like to talk about that stuff, and for many reasons, because we all have our own opinions of what we believe in or don't believe in.
Right.
And I have a lot of people that are on our personal Facebook pages and Instagram pages that will throw out a lot of shade for a Republican or a lot of shade for a Democrat, and I try not to chime in on it. I mean, sometimes it's really tempting, but it's we're in a society now where there's no way the two parties are going to get together.
Yeah.
There's no way everyone's going to agree. COVID hit us like a freaking steamboat.
Yeah.
And now we're picking the pieces up.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, who in the presidency office is going to pick those pieces up and what's going to happen. And we're doing lulls. We're having things where things are going great, then they go bad, then they go great, and everyone's blaming everybody else. So.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, and again, we're not going to get into this, the political side of it, but it just seems everything's very polarized, and that's sad because as a humanity, we're just all people. I think generally people want the best, they good hearts, they want to get along and do the right thing, and if we can all agree upon that, why can't we find common ground?
As a society, the wild part is that when you and I were younger, okay, and this might touch with some of the generation, when we were younger, we didn't have these debates.
No.
Our parents didn't have debates.
No.
Whether you're a Carter, whether you're a Reagan fan, whatever you were, you didn't have this debate. Yes, some people were like, they were somewhat political, but it wasn't as open as it is now.
Right.
People weren't rallying and protesting about things like ICE and different things like that. And it doesn't make a difference what you believe. I can tell you right now from both sides of it. I understand both sides of it. Mm-hmm. I have a belief one side maybe more than the other, but I understand both sides. I understand the ICE situation with splitting families. I get that part of it. I get the part that the people that are splitting the families did what they shouldn't have done in the first place. So what's right and what's wrong? It's a tough one. And when you're out there protesting and you're holding the ban or you're holding for one side and because you only want to believe in one side. And for me, it's today's world just changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I think what's really hitting me the hardest through this whole conversation that we've had is really the depth of the music that we love and what we go out and do and how we have a good time. I'm afraid of the change. Now, the younger generation might accept it, and they might, they do raves. So we talked about the raves, right? We talked about how that's not really a live band. And they might be okay with AI because, to be honest with you, the fucking music's fucking badass, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. It's great, and you can put together something crazy, and you could be, you and I could be back on the road again.
Yeah.
Dude, we could put together a band or AI, and we could go out there, and whether we lip sync it or not, people are, I don't want to say 50%, but 30 to 40% probably of the bands that are out there might be lip syncing. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, we're still paying to see them.
Yeah.
So who's the ones that are right or wrong? Who's the dumb fucks that are going out there and paying the money to go see it?
Well, that's the big question, right? But I will say this much through all we just talked about, and we got a little bit heavy there, but honestly, to me, music is the single unifier, right? Because music brings people together. It gives people hope, right?
And purpose.
And so that's why, ultimately why you and I, we latch on to that because we love music. Doesn't matter what genre it is. Music is a unifier and it brings people together, right? It doesn't matter what, race, creed, religion, whatever, but everybody can appreciate music. And that's one thing that I think we can find common ground in.
And we've talked about.
I should be a politician. Not.
We talked about this in so many podcasts already, and I apologize for bringing it up again. But we talked about we're doing the show in Phoenix, right? So, and that's a big thing for me because the same two bands I saw a couple years ago on a little tour, and LA Guns is one of my favorite bands. I'm super excited.
I'm really looking forward to them.
I'm super excited for you to see them. I'm super excited for Angel and everybody to see these guys because I really love them as a band.
Yeah.
And they're just so natural and raw. And the coolest part about the show, the best part about LA Guns show.
It's going to be a bitchin' podcast after we talk about them.
The best thing about
show.
LA Guns show was when he went out to sing the Ballad of Jane. Philip couldn't hit the notes on a certain part of the song. He had to stop, turn around, come back 20 seconds later, apologize to everybody, and kind of continue on the song.
Oh, really?
But the cool thing about that wasn't the fact that he couldn't sing it. The cool part about it was he was being real.
Yeah. I could apprate that totally.
And he was totally real. And he came back and sang it.
I love that.
And now I saw him the following year, and they've changed it a little bit to put it more where it's in his wheelhouse. It still sounds great.
Right, but he could at least hit the note now.
But the point was that he just did. He was he's singing live. He's not singing the tracks.
Right.
And yes, does it suck to come down a couple notes?
Well, he's got to come down an octave.
A couple octaves.
Yeah, I'm
whether
sure.
It's half of one whole, two. Yes, and yes, does it
We're
sound
all
the
getting
same?
there, though, man.
I know
we're
we
all
are.
getting
and
there.
we really
man.
want to hear. We really want to hear it up at the higher octave. We want to hear what we used to remember. But I'm okay. Just don't lip sync, dude.
Yeah.
Don't fucking lip sync, dude. It's like, come on.
Or don't hold out the mic so the audience sings your parts because you can't sing it anymore.
Yes.
That drives me nuts.
Yes.
By the way. So.
Yes. I mean, you have to. It's okay to put a mic out there if you do enough yourself.
Well, if it's the right moment and it's generating that energy, but just don't do it because you can't sing that part. Don't do that.
So every show we do, every show we see live, and hopefully we start seeing more together because we're seeing some separate. I want to talk about all of them. I want to talk about what I saw.
Yeah.
I'm doing Jeff Tate in November. We're doing, obviously, we missed Steel Panther last night, which I'm really bummed about.
I know we should have went.
I'm really bummed about it.
In the ass
we are, because Steel Panther is a great show. If you've never seen Steel Panther, they're a great show.
Tribute band, and well, even more than a tribute band because they have their own originals too. So
yeah, and they really do. It's really all they do is originals now. They don't do the covers anymore. They're done with that. When we saw them last, it was all originals.
Yeah,
and then they have a whole stage show. I mean,
it's fantastic.
Michael Starr, he really does. He does a great freaking job, dude.
Mm-hmm.
He really, really does. You know, obviously we've known him from back in the day, a little bit earlier.
Still has
back
a great
in
voice
Nightfall and Atomic Punks. Mm-hmm. And God bless you, brother. I mean, you're doing a great job out there.
He's kicking his ass.
And you know, I follow him on social media. He's pretty cool, dude. Does a lot of cool stuff. He loves to hike and talk about a bunch of shit. So if
would you say like he does is it the cameo thing?
Yeah, the cameo thing's a big thing right now.
Because that's a big thing right now.
Yeah, so the cameo. So you know, I've known him from back in the day, and the weird thing was I just figured, I told Frank I hit him on Facebook, and I'm gonna say, hey, bro, cool. I haven't seen you in a while. You guys, I'm back from the way back in the day and everything. And I know I haven't seen you in a while, but hey, we got this new podcast coming out. If you ever get a chance to like ring it up a little bit and maybe put a little fucking promo out there, we'd fucking
little plug,
appreciate whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he fucking instantly came back with a fucking email starting about his cameo. About, hey, hire me to talk about you marrying your daughter's marrying the boyfriend for $100 an hour. I'm like, and he does this shit, dude, and it's great because it's comical when he talks about some of the stuff, and some of the people ask some weird fucking shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to tell my dad that I'm fucking pregnant for 3 months from the boy that you fucking hated, or
Jesus.
Whatever. It's just some weird shit. Hey, your brother's uncle's friend's girlfriend is now my wife. I want you to tell him. And he does it. He said he'll do whatever the fuck it is. He don't give a shit because it's funny. But yeah, and the cameo thing's kind of funny because people do that and they hire you. And $50, $100, $200, whatever it is, however level the band is kind of great.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun. But anyway, back the AI. We'll kind of wrap it up a little bit. Back to the AI on those kinds of things. It's just unfortunately kind of getting really more real than anything else.
Yeah.
It's getting to a point where...
It is. I mean, just it's coming. And there's no stopping it. And so it's just, okay, how do we best manage it, right? To where we get the best out of it, but, we limit kind of the risks, of course.
We have to limit the risks.
Yeah.
And, we have to worry about our kids.
Yeah, of course.
Because we're not going to be here forever. But unfortunately, we're going to be here, when we're here, and we have to worry about our kids.
Yeah, but I think at some point we're going to have to, as a society, decide, okay, what are the limits going to be? Where do we put the cap on AI? Because I mean, honestly, it could get to the point where it's going to run away, and next thing you know, we don't have control of it, and that's going to be a big, huge problem. So anyway,
it is, unfortunately. But you know what? We're here now. And we're listening to the music, and we're plugging all the music that's out there. We talked about all the clubs in Hollywood and all the clubs down here in Orange County and the fun that we had back in the day. There's so many things and so many freaking stories and great times that we had.
Yeah, there's a lot more to come, too.
There is a lot more to come. It's hard to touch on everything. I mean, there's some of the club stories we could tell you about bands that we put on and promotions and
I can
hotel
even tell you
rooms
shit
and
when
limousines.
Our band played in Hawaii, man. And we'll get to that, too.
We're going to have to get to kind of everything. It's touch by touch. And
yeah.
I know, we don't like to do a solid podcast on one thing. We like to kind of bounce around. The bouncing ball. We like to bounce to different things and talk about different things and not bore everybody and get into
hopefully
something.
Everybody appreciates that too.
Hopefully not everybody will, but hopefully the majority will.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you guys want to hear something, you have a certain thing, you have a question.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys.
Hit us up on social media. Mm-hmm. Hit us up directly on Facebook or Instagram or Tickety Talk. Hit us up over there.
Tickety Talk.
That's the whiskey.
I
talking,
love that.
baby.
I know.
You can send those over that
We
way.
didn't do a cheers. We got to do
We
a cheers.
did not do a cheers.
Let's do
So we do it every
brother.
time. A cheers.
Cheers, brother.
And I'm excited. We're going to do some. We're going to have some. Not only are we doing the Phoenix thing,
Yeah.
but we're also going to have some guests pretty soon too.
We are.
I don't know if I told you. We're going to have some guests pretty soon.
Oh, I'm excited.
We're going to probably have my nephew, who's a great influencer.
Love that.
And I'm going to call him my other son. I mean, Sage is a great friend of Devin and part of the
Those
family.
guys. Yeah.
We're probably going to have your son and my son. Probably we're going to have a couple of people come on the podcast because, you know, I want to talk a lot about like differences and things of what it was back then. And what I really want to talk to him about. This is what I want you to touch on this after we get off the air. But I want to talk about things like what bands are still relevant today.
Yeah.
That were relevant back then.
That I would love to hear from like our sons and whatever from the younger generation, to hear from them, because you know obviously we exposed them to some of that music that we grew up, and they have appreciation for that. But what about their friends? You know, that's what I want to hear. I really want to hear from that younger generation.
It is like, you know, what bands do you like now? What bands are cool?
Right.
You know, we went to a wedding, and we'll close out on this. I went to a wedding in Chico. My nephew got married, and when they played fucking Bon Jovi. Dude, the fucking place erupted. Everybody knew it.
Because they love that old
to be
school.
Honest,
they love it,
I'm
man.
not a Bon Jovi fan. We've talked about this. Even though we fuck with, you know, you give love a bad name. But still, that's a whole nother story. But they knew it.
At least we sing it in tune.
Yeah, I think so. we're not lip syncing.
We're not lip syncing.
We should try and lip sync next time.
Oh, God, no.
All right, man. Well, hey, we're going to wrap this one up, man. I really appreciate all you guys being here. Make sure you check us on. We talked about that, all the socials, right? We're going to do Instagram and Facebook. Those are our main. We have TikTok out there.
Give us your comments, too, feedback, whatever.
Please give us that. And make sure that you check us out YouTube and Spotify. So we're finally out on YouTube. We're making something happen.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just not happening.
And, you know, the damn website, I'm excited.
Dude,
it's
we're
finally,
super. We
it's
finally got with
I think it's coming,
Frank's
bro.
buddy. Hey,
I know.
Let's give a little shout out.
Ever Social, my buddy Kevin McGrew, man.
Oh,
He's going to
man.
set us up, bro.
Dude,
it's
I'm
gonna
super excited.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm more excited to go with Kevin to the fucking club or if I'm more excited for him to do a website.
He's going to take care of us, man.
This guy was great,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
So we're plugging him right now. We're going to have him. He's going to come on the show, dude. We have to have him on the show.
We'll have him on the show.
And
Yeah.
hopefully we'll just do it. You know what, dude? Let's kind of bond together. We'll talk to Kim. Let's do a Vegas trip or something.
We should.
And let's do a podcast from Vegas with some of the bro Migos.
Oh yeah,
or
we can bring in my buddy Darren,
whoever
and
you want. We can bring
Greg
everybody.
and Ranger. We'll bring them all
have
in,
a lot
man.
of fun because these guys are really cool and they're really helping us on the back scenes.
Yeah, they are.
So you know we've been kind of fucking around with this thing a little bit. We've been doing a lot of stuff. We know we're doing our stuff's not live and we're not doing video right now, but they're getting everything ready. And we're gonna punch it hard.
Yeah.
And I believe it's really gonna do very. You know, we're gonna have a great time with it, and hopefully you guys enjoy it too. And once again, hit us up on all the social medias and drop us some links and everything, and we'll let you know when the website's out because it fucking ain't out right now.
No, it's coming though.
It is coming.
Yeah,
it really is coming,
and we're really appreciative too because we got some good momentum going now, and you guys are giving us great feedback, and we super appreciate that. So
yeah, we really do.
Keep it coming for sure.
We do, man. Follow you out with a little bit of our new RockNRamble tune. See if you guys check this shit out.
Throw that out
See
there.
if you guys like it. Drop some links.
Let's do it, baby.
We're out.
Let's do it.
Loud, let the speakers scream. Back to the decade of leather and dreams. From Sunset Strip to the world stage lights, we lived it all. Wildest nights. RockNRamble, yeah, we're taking you back. Metal hearts and a wild soundtrack. Ren and Frank, we got stories to tell. On Spotify, YouTube, crank it to hell. Hairspray tattoos, the glory, the pain. The soundtrack of life still runs in our veins. Every riff's a memory, every song's a fight. We're talking legends that lit up the nights. Rockin'